Hey guys, this is probably the most requested video that I keep having asked on jldjuk.com, and that is a gear setup tour. You guys want to see it, so I'd finally put one together. Unfortunately, I don't really have the space to get all my setups out, but you'll see what I've done in the video. But I am going over all the pieces of kit I use in my 3 different setups. That is my small setup, my large setup, and all my uplighting gear. So let's get started. Most of the equipment you'll see in these videos I've done a review on, so you can go check that out. All the links you need will be in the description below. So let's start off by looking at the small setup. So with the small setup, I take this out to all my smaller gigs where I don't need such a large light show. So let's start off taking a look at the lighting. I have the Jelly Par profile system. This is basically an all-in-one light show using flat pars with the jelly casing on them, so they give a really cool effect. So it's an all-in-one light show, which makes it really useful for this small setup where sometimes at gigs I won't have such a long get-in time. Also, the other lights I use, I got 2 American DJ Vertigo Tri-LEDs. These are fantastic fixtures and create really awesome beam effects when I use them with the smoke machine, and I have these usually mounted on top of my speakers. And finally, my newest fixture, yet to have a review done, is the Jelly Go Par 64. Now this is a wireless battery powered uplight that I can put anywhere around the room, so it makes it perfect for this small setup. So I can just put it down in a corner, set it to sound active, and away we go. Now I don't use any DMX control with this setup. I do use the foot controller with the Jelly Par profile system though, but there's no DMX going on unless I add extra uplighting. So now let's move on, take a look at the sound side. With the sound equipment, I've got my RCF Art 312As. These are 12-inch active speakers from RCF and they create awesome sounds. After my speakers, I've got the VMS 4.1 from American Audio. This is a MIDI controller running Virtual DJ. Currently Virtual DJ LE, I have yet to upgrade to the Pro version, though that is on my list of things to get next. So fantastic thing about this is it's all I need. I don't need an external mixer, I can just bring along the MIDI controller and connect everything into it. And I've also got my Sennheiser 3-port wireless microphones, which I connect into the VMS 4.1. This is a fantastic wireless microphone because it's really good value and produces really good quality. And then to connect to the VMS 4.1, I have my MacBook Air, which I think is a fantastic computer for DJing. It's so portable and it's got quite a bit of power behind it. So let's move on now to the largest setup. Now this is where I take to all of my gigs. It does change depending on the gig. For example, a recent gig I did, I added on some flat pars onto the top of the truss, which I haven't done before. You may see more of that in the future because I really did like what that did. So let's take a look at the gear. First of all, the lighting system. I have the American DJ Dura Truss system, also known as the Lightbridge 1. This is a really good system because primarily it's got crank stands, which makes it really easy with setup. I don't have to lift up the truss with heavy gear on it, I just use the crank stands. And also the Dura Truss, it's not as big and bulky as some other trusses. It's quite a thin sized truss. Then for lighting, I've got 2 American DJ Vertigo LEDs, same as on my small setup. These things are fantastic, give absolutely brilliant beam effects. Then I've also got 4 Smart Scan 2s, these are my primary scanners. I had these things for years, 4 scanners altogether. I have them across my truss and they're brilliant. They've got separate colour and gobo wheels. I know maybe they're not the best brand in the world, but they do me just fine for the moment anyway. And those are all connected together via DMX, usually on Sound to Light. Then in the middle of my truss, I usually put one of 2 lights, depending on the gig. I'll either use the American DJ Ruby Royal Laser, which is a fantastic light and I love the beam effects this thing gives off. Alternatively, I'll use my Dual Gem LED. Now this fixture I've had for years, and as you can see, it's been through the wars a little bit, but it still works absolutely amazingly and it's a perfect Sound to Light fixture. And then I have the Transession Show Director, which is basically a switching unit, so it allows me to turn on and off the lights individually on the truss. And also it means I have to run 1 power cable and 1 signal cable down the truss, and I've got control of the power for all of the lights. Now moving on to the sound side of the large setup, it's quite similar to the small setup, few differences though. I've got the RCF Art 312A active speakers again, fantastic speakers, would highly recommend them to anyone. And then as well, we've got the VMS 4.1 MIDI controller as my main audio source, with the MacBook Air connected to it via USB, running Virtual DJ LE. And then we've got the Sennheiser 3-port wireless microphones again. This time though, they're not connected to the VMS 4.1. I bring along a separate flight case to the bigger gigs, which has, first of all, the Transession Show Director controller in it, so it allows me to turn on and off the lights. And then also in there, we've got the American Audio Q-Span Pro and the American Audio SDJ1. So the SDJ1 I have as my audio backup. It basically plays MP3 files off SD cards, so it's useful to have in case I have a problem with my laptop. I can just switch over and play a song from that. And then I have the American Audio Q-Span Pro as my primary mixer. It's a fantastic 4-channel mixer with an excellent build quality. Had this thing for quite a while now, and it is a really awesome mixer. And then my Sennheiser 3 ports connect into that. So that's what I've got in my large setup. Now let's take a look at my uplighting gear. So starting off, I've got 4 American DJ Mega Par profiles. Now if you're looking at getting into uplighting, these are really good fixes to start on because they're very good value. And also they use RGB LEDs in them, so you can basically color mix and pick whatever color you want. I've also got 1 Mega Tri-Par profile. It's basically the same thing as the Mega Par profile, but instead of those RGB LEDs, it's got Tri-LEDs. So I've also got the Jelly Par 64s I mentioned about in my small setup. These are battery powered uplights, and they're really useful just if I need to put an uplight in a corner where maybe I can't get some power so easily. I can just put one of these down, really good for that. I've also got 2 American DJ Megabar LED RCs. These are really great LED bars using RGB LEDs inside them. Really great fixes if you want to wash a large wall. Now to control all of my uplights, I use the American DJ RGB3C. It's a very simple DMX controller that allows you to control RGB 3-channel DMX fixtures. So also with DMX, I use the American DJ Y-Flex system. This allows you to transmit DMX wirelessly across the venue, which is really useful to save you running cables across long distances. I can just transmit the DMX signal across to the other side of the room. I've also got this little splitter here from JB Systems. This allows me to split the DMX signal from one line into 2 so I can send the DMX around to different sides of the venue. So there you go guys, that is my setup tour for the beginning of 2013. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you could give this video a thumbs up and even share it out on Facebook, that would be really awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment, rate and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.